Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to AwesomeEpicGuys. This video is a tutorial that will hopefully increase the speed of your computer, and thus your gaming experience, and possibly your gaming performance. This tutorial will be heavily directed towards World of Tanks, but the same principle really applies to all games. If you find information in this tutorial that you think may benefit others, do not be afraid to share it. This video will be divided into 3 parts. The first part will be about speeding up your computer as a whole. The steps we will be making are taking part on a Windows 7 platform and should be quite identical with Windows Vista, Windows 8 and Windows 10. If you are gaming on a Mac, you will need to take some different steps, but the goal will be the same, like anyone actually plays on a Mac. The second part will be about using the correct settings for your game. This will count no matter what operating system you're running on your computer, as the selectable settings in-game should be the same across the board. The third part will be the most advanced one, and will be about hardware. As the majority of you guys watching probably aren't complete geeks as we are, we will try to make it as simple as possible for everyone to understand. All the parts of this guide will be marked in the video description if you only want to watch a certain part of it, as this video is probably going to last a while. Before we dive into the first step of this guide, why do we need more FPS? FPS stands for frames per second and basically means how many times your graphics processor can output an image to your monitor per second. But why do we need more of it? Does it really matter if we play with an average frames per second of 10 or 30? Yes, of course. The lower the frame rate, the laggier the image will appear on your screen. And higher frames per second will result in a smoother image. A smoother image will please your eyes, and your overall gaming experience will probably feel a lot more pleasant. Oh my god! A smoother image will likely make your in-game performance better, as it will most likely improve your accuracy. Unless you already suck, of course. Step 1. Speeding up your computer.
Let's do this!
What we will start doing is to optimize your computer to make it fully utilize the powers that dwell within it. Right.
Take note that what we are about to show you will be done at your own risk. We cannot take any responsibility if you happen to delete your entire hard drive or throw your PC out the window. Please don't do that.
Okay, let's get down to business.
Everything that happens on your computer requires performance from your CPU. Performance that we want to use in World of Tanks, not some random Hello Kitty updater.exe process. What we're going to do now is try to get rid of as many processes as possible that we know we don't really need. In theory, this should increase your in-game performance, as your CPU won't need to be working with other processes you don't really need when gaming. What we're going to do now is to open the System Configuration tab. Search for msconfig. Then simply hit the Startup tab. If you are on Windows 10, this will be done through Task Manager. Here is a list of programs that will launch upon Windows startup. Some of these are necessary, but many of them might be turned off completely. To stop the processes from starting along with Windows, simply uncheck the box right next to it. Once you are done, press Apply. If you are uncertain if you are to remove a process or not, just Google it and see what it does. As we are still in the System Configuration, we can go ahead and head over to the Services tab right next to it. Here are all the services listed that runs along with your operating system. Just uncheck all the services you think you don't need. Every process your CPU does not need to run means more power to your games.
And you want that.
Alright, once that is out of the way, we can start to clean out our hard drive. This step will only be necessary if you have a mechanical hard drive, not if you have an SSD. A mechanical hard drive has an arm that physically moves around the disk in order to find data. The more stuff you store on the drive, the longer it will take for the arm to find the data you're actually looking for. So in order to speed up your hard drive, we're just gonna erase as much as possible. Uninstall games you no longer play, delete images, music, videos, you name it. If you do have an external hard drive handy, you can put files on that one instead if you don't want to remove your files completely.
Feed me.
Once that is done, you can do a disk cleanup. This tool will erase all the crap out of your hard drive that your system says, "Meh, I don't need that shit." If this is the first time you do a disk cleanup, it's probably gonna take a while. If you want to take this step even further, you can go ahead and download CCleaner and/or Advanced System Care. Links will be down below. Now we're gonna run a disk defragmentation. This will rearrange all the files on your hard drive, making them easier and quicker to find. Remember, speeding up your hard drive usually does not directly improve frames per second in-game, but the boot and loading times of your PC will be quicker. So for example, the time it will take for your PC to join a battle should be quicker.
Why the f didn't anybody tell me?
There are plenty of softwares out there that will do this job for you. Links to these we recommend are in the video description, but if you want to use the tool within Windows, just right-click on your hard drive, click Properties and then Tools.
This is too easy!
Now we're gonna make sure that you don't have any harmful software on your PC. You know, viruses and stuff. First of all, make sure you have a firewall activated. The firewall that comes within Windows works fine. Then make sure you have some sort of antivirus working on your computer. Also check that it's up to date. If you don't have such a software, you can download them for free. Just check the video description. Also make sure that you don't have multiple antivirus softwares installed, as these might interfere with each other. Now we're gonna run a complete scan of your computer and check for harmful software. Hopefully you won't find any. A complete virus scan might take a while, but now we're gonna check for drivers. There are many drivers on a computer, but assuming that your computer works properly, you should only need to check the drivers for your graphics processor. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can either visit their website and download their latest drivers manually, or download GeForce Experience and let that detect, download and install the latest drivers for you. If you run with an AMD GPU, you can download their AMD Driver Auto Detect tool and let it do the job for you. Don't forget to check for new drivers from time to time, at least a couple of times a year.
Ain't nobody got time for that!
Another very simple thing you can do is to enter your power options and change your preset to high performance. Take note that this step may increase the temperature of your PC, so in case you have a laptop with rather poor cooling performance, I'd rather skip this step or wait until later in this tutorial when we will start to talk about cooling.
Step 2. Choosing your correct settings.
Hurry it up already!
Once the previous steps have been accomplished, you can go ahead and launch your game. However, if you do not remember the last time you did a clean installation of your game, you should probably go ahead and do that first. Now when we are inside the game, we want to do a test run to see what we have to begin with. Let your PC suggest the best graphics settings for your computer. Then, either enter a training room or start a replay file. We will do this to check how many frames per second we're getting. You want your FPS counter to be as high as the refresh rate of your monitor. To check this, right-click on your desktop. This might appear differently depending on what operating system you are running, but you should look for something similar to screen resolution or screen settings. In Windows 7, you just right-click on the desktop and click for screen resolution. Select the monitor you're gaming on and click Properties. And then the Monitor tab. Here you should find the screen refresh rate option. The most common options these days are 60 Hz. You probably want to select the highest option possible. While we're inside our screen display option, we can go ahead and check the resolution of our monitor. The highest resolution option should be the one you should choose in-game, at least if you want a sharp image. Also check that the game's refresh rate matches the one with the monitor. If the frames per second in-game is lower than the refresh rate of your monitor, you need to adjust your settings. You also need to make this choice: higher frame rates or higher graphics quality. I personally prefer frame rates over graphics quality, but that is obviously your choice how you want to do it. If you can max out your settings and still get a smooth image, I honestly don't even know why you're watching this video. If you desire higher frame rates, let's head on over to the graphics settings. Now we must decide what settings we want to lower or turn off completely. I would recommend that you start out with flora density and shadow quality, as well as turning off track effects. These parameters usually hammer the GPU the most. I personally run with these settings off completely, as it increases my vision on the battlefield. I would also recommend that you turn off extra effects in sniper mode and grass in sniper mode, for the same reasons as previously. It hammers your GPU and will decrease your vision. If this didn't increase your FPS enough, try to lower the foliage quality setting, the water quality settings, and lightning quality setting. If you still can't reach the refresh rate of your monitor, just lower the other settings as you please. You can also try to turn off the anti-aliasing option completely. This setting will adjust the smoothness of edges in your game. You can try out the 3D render resolution, but I would still recommend that you set it at 100%. If you haven't already, you can set your graphics from improved to standard.
Have you lowered all your graphic settings? Has all hope faded for your computer? Fear not! Modifications, aka mods, to the rescue! With mods, you can completely disable features that otherwise cannot be touched within the in-game settings. A link to the mod we recommend is in the video description. You can also play in window mode. This will reduce the pixels your computer need to deal with. If you have followed all the previous steps in this tutorial and still cannot get a playable frame rate, you should probably be looking into a new computer.
And throw your old one out the window.
Step 3. Hardware. You know, the stuff you put inside the computer?
The very first thing you should do is to make sure that your computer is clean. A very dirty computer may actually slow down because of high temperatures. Pop that side panel open and have a look at the travesty on the other side. Now, let's start cleaning. We recommend that you use compressed air that can be purchased in most shops. Do not use a vacuum cleaner due to the risk of static electricity. Now, let's blow all that dust out of your PC. You can even do this with a laptop. As long as you don't touch any of the components, you can use a wet towel. If your computer is really dirty, you might need to take some components out of it to get a closer look. Just don't forget to ground yourself first. Then just repeat the process with compressed air. You can also use a brush. Ear swabs may also come in handy. When you think you're done, plug your computer back together and make sure it works. Because now we're gonna check the temperatures. There are many softwares you can use for this, but we use MSI Afterburner. A download link will be in the video description. Once MSI Afterburner is installed, head over to the settings and then hit the monitoring tab. There are many things you can check here, but we want to check GPU and CPU temperatures. All GPUs and CPUs are different, but I personally don't recommend that neither of them should run above 90 degrees Celsius or 194 degrees Fahrenheit. This is under load, of course. In idle, your temperature should be far lower than that. For example, my graphics card is currently running at 58 degrees Celsius and my CPU at about 40. Under heavier use, such as gaming, my graphics card is hovering around 80 degrees Celsius and my CPU tops out at about 70. I would say that those temperatures are safe.
Yeah!
You can download IDA64 and run a system stability test. While the test is running, check your temperatures. If your computer is running too hot, there are a few things we can try out. Assuming your PC is clean, make sure it has decent airflow. Try and avoid confined spaces. Check how many system fans you have running. You should have at least one intake and one exhaust. If adding extra fans isn't an option, you can leave the side panel off. This might help a little bit. If you have a laptop, a cooling pad might be a good option.
Are you sure about that?
If just one single component in your system is overheating, for example your processor, try to clean out your heatsink and then apply some new fresh thermal paste. Tutorial how to do this will be linked in the video description.
Now, when your computer is nice and cool, we can start to talk about overclocking.
Overclocking is when you force your hardware to perform better than the manufacturer intended. To improve your gaming performance, you can overclock your graphics card and processor. These days, most graphics cards are overclockable. You can do this in MSI Afterburner. Start out by increasing the clock speed a little bit, and then run some sort of benchmark. Download link will be in the video description. If it appears to be stable, increase the core clock a little bit more, and keep going until you get some sort of crash or stability issues.
All units, be advised, this is kind of f***ed up.
Once you get there, pull the overclock back a little bit until you get stable again. Or increase the core voltage and power limit and keep overclocking. If you're gonna do this, make sure that your temperatures are in check.
Yeah!
Once you're happy with your core clock speed, you can start to mess around with the memory clock. If you want a more detailed tutorial how to overclock your graphics card, we will provide one in the video description. If you would like to overclock your processor as well, you should first go online and check if your processor is overclockable, and if your motherboard supports it. With this software called CPU-Z, you can check out the name of your processor and what motherboard you have. If it seems that you're good to go, let's head on over to the BIOS. You enter the BIOS on most PCs by booting it up and smashing the delete key.
Yes!
Once you're inside your BIOS, look for the option to change clock speeds. Remember that all BIOS are different, so in case you cannot find this option, either check your manual or look it up online. Warning: when increasing the clock speed of your processor, it will run a lot hotter. Check what kind of CPU cooler you have mounted. For example, the stock coolers that AMD and Intel throw with their CPUs are not good enough. A Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo is a good start, but there are obviously even better options if you have the money for it. Once you have adjusted your core clock for your CPU, save your changes and head back into Windows. Then open CPU-Z again and head into the CPU tab and check that your clocks are correct. If they are, head into IDA64 and run a system stability test. While this test is going on, check your temperatures. If everything appears to be okay and your system is stable, you can head back into the BIOS and increase your overclock a little bit further. If your CPU starts becoming really hot, you shouldn't overclock any further. If heat isn't a problem, just keep overclocking until you get some sort of crash. And when that happens, pull your overclock back a little bit again until it's stable. Or increase the voltage. However, if you're gonna do this, be careful. Unlike a graphics card, a processor doesn't really have some sort of safety limit from the factory. This means applying too much voltage may actually destroy your CPU.
Well, that was terrifying!
If you want a more detailed tutorial, we will provide one in the video description for you. We are now going to end this video by talking about PC upgrades. It might be that your computer is just too slow and you need new components. Here are a few tips. Throwing in a couple of RAM sticks is an easy upgrade for most PCs, even laptops. For gaming, I would recommend 8GB. Replacing your mechanical hard drive with a solid state drive will make your computer feel a lot more responsive. If you are going to upgrade your graphics card, make sure that your power supply can support it and that you have enough space in your chassis. We hope you have found this tutorial useful. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to leave a comment. We will do our best to help you out.